How do you feel about being a creator, setting everything up and doing everything by yourself from the get-go? Because I feel like it's a love-hate, abusive relationship of which you can't easily pull themselves away from. Well, I can't be so sure about it. I'd like to learn from someone like you who's been doing it for at least 4 years. Okay, how do I feel about being a creator? Well, you're getting the opinion of an unsuccessful creator. Someone who has pounded their head into a brick wall for 4 solid years, consistently uploading at least weekly, streaming. I've had a few like hiatuses and hiccups because of like life situations. I've had all of the models. I've had the 2D, the 3D. I've done big events. I've collaborated with people, and I have still not grown. It's very fucking depressing. A lot of it, though, is your market appeal. And I'm not somebody who generally, when I'm trying my hardest, appeals to a lot of people, which sounds very counterintuitive, but when I don't try at all, like for example, this fucking channel, you guys come out in droves. But when I spend like a month on a project, I will get maybe like 10 views. It's actually insane. And it's not like a don't try hard type situation. It's just different content appeals to different people. That's the biggest takeaway about being a creator. Um, I would like to do it full time. I have never been able to because the thing is that you're fighting against a huge sea of people. Because everybody wants to do a content creation. Like, nobody wants to be a plumber anymore. Nobody wants to be an electrician. Nobody wants to get into a trade. Everybody wants to be the next social media sensation. Now, I've never, like, been under the impression that I would ever become the next social media sensation. Like, that's naive and stupid. But I have always wanted to be liked. I do like getting attention. I like it when people look at me and say nice things. I'm only human, and I will admit that. I'm an attention whore. That's part of why I VTube. It makes me feel good about myself. But the longer I've done it, the more I realize that it is a numbers game. It is a who you know game. And it is, if you aren't super specific in your niche, you're not a pioneer, you don't bring anything new or interesting to the table, and you're not super, like, fast, quick to the draw with how much you upload and the amount you upload, you will soon be swept away by people who are willing to do it faster and higher budget than you. So don't do it unless you are very willing to concede to the fact that you are more than likely not going to break numbers. You are not going to, unless you catch a very lucky break. Do it because you have something that you want to create that you enjoy. That's what I've conceded to doing on my main. I make these projects so that I can have them in the future and be like, look at this really cool thing I made. It's very high effort, very high quality. I'm proud of it. And the 100 or so people that really enjoyed it, that complimented me on it, also appreciated all the work I did on it. And it can be a portfolio piece. And I don't feel like my time is wasted because I've created something worthwhile. So you might not have like a victory down the line of you being a Iron Mouse level sized. So take what you can from it, is the takeaway. I don't know if that was cohesive at fucking all. Talk some mad shit. Okay, meet Stacks. You stink. I can smell you from here. You're fucking nasty. Go take a shower. Can you do a backflip? No, not for you anyway. Interested to know your exact thoughts on people who use BPD as an excuse not to take responsibility for their actions, because it's something I've encountered multiple times from multiple people. Could be I'm the only one who's curious about that, though. I'm somebody who has been diagnosed with BPD for many years. Here's the thing. There are different severities of borderline personality disorder, and some people have an easier time controlling their actions than others, but a lot of the times, people who have it like to use it as a get out of jail free card excuse for some heinous shit that they do. And they don't actually have to. Like, they are more than most of them are more than capable of either controlling their actions or owning up to their actions. Because let's be real here, just because you had a moment of weakness and you did something heinous doesn't mean that you aren't still responsible for it. Like, let's say I have a momentary lapse and I beat the shit out of a kid. like, I'm still gonna, like, face the consequences of beating the shit out of a kid, and I'll deserve it, because at the end of the day, I still did it. The inability to take responsibility and use things as an excuse is a huge sign of mental immaturity. And if you are not able to find it within yourself to take responsibilities for heinous things that you've done, even if you feel like you weren't entirely in control, you need to take another fucking look at yourself. You need to grow up. You need to separate yourself from other people, and you need to be responsible, if that makes sense. It's part of the reason I don't date, because I don't blame others or a condition for the things I do, but I'm still very scared that things I do will affect people in a very bad way. And I don't want to be perceived in such a way. I would much rather risk being alone for the rest of my life. I digress. I don't have anything more to add to that for now. Can you do food and energy drink tier lists? Okay. S tier, pastas and Monster Energy, and F tier, everything else. Yap about your goals for content. I don't have any goals for content on this channel. Interested how you feel about this channel, how fast it's grown, etc. How I feel? I'm very fucking concerned, very upset, very confused. Like, usually, this kind of growth, explosive growth like this, is easy to celebrate for most people. It feels like their big break, but for me, it actually feels like a bit of a loss. Because, again, I've been doing this for 4 years. This is my vent channel where I go to vent my frustrations, and I only started it a week ago. And nothing I've done, despite all of the time, effort, and money I've put into my other project, has pulled in even a fraction of the attention that this shit has, and it is really heartbreaking. Because when I do a short on my other project, I can spend upwards of, like, an hour or two on each of my YouTube shorts for them. It's highly edited, it's very snappy, the stories are engaging, but nobody sees them. Nobody shares them. I spend 30 seconds schizo rambling with the camera here, and I spend 30 seconds in CapCut using the auto caption feature, and I don't even usually correct the captions when they're wrong. I just post it raw. It takes less than 5 minutes per each screech. And YouTube pushes it like it's no tomorrow. Like, you can see how demoralizing and saddening that is, right? You can see how, like, that hurts. Anyway, that said, I'm still gracious to meet a bunch of new people. I just have to reevaluate what I'm going to do from here, if that makes sense. And now I'm kind of scared, because this is where I went to vent my energy. And it went from being kind of like a goofy little diary that, like, 3 people were supposed to see, to now being one of the more popular things I've ever done. And so it's just like, where do I go from here? Now that I've got an audience, I'm scared to say the things that I, like, want to vent about. Because now it's being seen as content and not being seen as, like, therapeutic. I don't want this to be considered content. I don't consider this content. This is not me being a content creator. This is just me being a person. Like, maybe you guys are being an audience, but I'm not getting anything from this right now. And it's just... I think the day that I no longer feel comfortable telling you guys how I feel about the world is the day that I stop posting, if that makes sense. The day that I feel like this becomes content and it stops being a conversation is the day this channel dies. That's how I feel about it. Convince me of a conspiracy you believe in. That the deleted government in Canada, Trudeau, is Pablo Escobar's long-lost son. The only convincing you need is look at a picture of the two of them side by side. Curious about your take on infantilization, particularly towards people with mental disorders, aka autism, ADHD, etc. There was a degree of that before the internet for different reasons. But internet, it's almost like a self-infantilization. It's like, around the beginning of the internet, people were actually starting to come to terms and understand mental health. Same with sexuality and gender and all that. Like, just at the infancy of the internet, and racism as well. Tail end of the 90s, people were a lot more accepting about all sorts of things and willing to talk. But as soon as the internet came along, it all of a sudden became some sort of weird, like, twisted rat race to who could self-victimize themselves the quickest. And nobody infantilizes these things quite like the people who claim to champion them. And it's very sick. That's my opinion. Sub day 2, your channel existing because short 1, I was proud about how upfront, raw, and honest you were. Best part, none of it came from being impulsive or just to spout nonsense. Oh no, all of this is fucking impulsive. You're trying to formulate what you talk about, so even when you come off as hostile, you come off equally as respectable for standing your ground. How dare you accuse me of respecting any of you guys? Where does your confidence and willingness to discuss all these things come from? Me convincing myself that nobody is on the other side actually listening. A lot of folks are yapping about the state of the entertainment industry. Why not yap about what gets under your skin and other hobbies? Okay, when I'm sewing, I hate it when a needle breaks in the machine and flies like a fucking ballistic missile. I have gotten a needle in my cheek before, and I have had needle shards fly across a shag carpet, and I've stepped on it before. That shit fucking sucks to take out. I stopped sewing as a hobby because of that shit. Okay. How overly mainstream the communities online have become something you've touched a few times, but I would like to know if you think it's possible for them to change back to the way it was. I think so. I think it's possible for the anime and manga communities to return to the way it was. Not, like, exactly, because you can't exactly, like, undo this kind of shit. But I think it can return to being a bit easier to stomach. And what you need to do to be able to do that is we need to redirect what is popular. Like, it needs to no longer be popular. People need to get bored and move on. It needs to stop being one of the bigger sells right now. It needs to stop being profitable. And once those people move on to their new big thing, like fucking K-pop, we'll start having more breathing room again, and creatives can now, like, have the space back where they can express their art in a way that is meaningful and interesting and tell the stories they want to tell without worrying about it being profitable. What color is math book? Black. Talk about things that trouble you? Already did. Yap about a book franchise you dislike. Well, I mean, Harry Potter's mid. Aragorn is mid. I don't have any that I particularly dislike at the moment. You'll have to get back to me on that one, though. I probably have something I hate, just haven't thought of it yet. Yes. No. Come up with something. I'm here to watch your content, not help you make it. Joke's on you, bitch. You just became part of it. Sing again. You first.